Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ron Calderon. I'm the Vice Chair, and I'll be conducting today's meeting. I call to order the November 14th, 2024 meeting. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. May we have the roll call, please?
Vice Chair Calderon,
Here.
Commissioner Rice, excused. Commissioner Emanuel,
Here.
Sheriff Designee, excused. Public Works Designee,
Here.
Commissioner Swaldling,
Here.
Commissioner Lang,
Here.
Commissioner Stamper.
Here.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have a quorum.
Thank you.
Oh, and I apologize, Commissioner Turner, or Chair Turner, excused.
Let's not forget him. This meeting has been noticed and properly posted in accordance with the open meetings law, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. First item is a public comment. Comments during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Would anyone like to come forward at this time? If so, please come down and state your name and make your comment or statement.
Hello, my name is Boyd Katz. I live at 7030 O'Bannon Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. It's in the area that we're talking about today, specifically O'Bannon. First off, I would just like to say thank you. Myself, my fellow neighbors with the Buffalo Coalition and with Rainbow Family Park, we're very excited about this project. O'Bannon has turned into a bit of a speedway, and we're very excited specifically for the speed cushions. Very excited about that. Looking forward to that in a big, big way. Personally, my family's been affected quite a bit by it. We've had our trash cans taken out multiple times. We finally had them replaced, and they were hit again. So very much looking forward to slowing the traffic down in that area. I've scooped up more cats and dogs than I can count. I've seen probably the most fragile area that I think I would like to bring to your attention is on the Rainbow Family Park that is there in between Rosanna and Tenaya on O'Bannon. I think that is one of our greater areas of concern because I've seen the closest, scariest moments there when kids are getting their baseballs in the street and cars are doing anywhere from 60 to 100 miles an hour. So this means a lot to us. I'm very thankful for that. But the one thing I would love to just comment on really quick, if we're gonna do a job, I think we should do it right. And the one thing that I couldn't help but notice that we should consider is between that specific fragile area, right there next to the park, we're putting in speed cushions from Rainbow to Durango, from what I understand. The problem that we run into with speed cushions in that area is the motorcycle traffic, which is actually fairly heavy. We have Red Rock Harley Davidson right there, and we also have One-Way Motorsports and Mr. D's, and a lot of that traffic, they like to bypass Sahara, and they love to fly down O'Bannon. It's been a pretty big issue for us for a while. Myself and several others and Brian Knudsen, we actually had a meeting with Red Rock Harley, and the people there are amazing. They can't control the riders though. And the issue that I have in that area with the speed humps, the motorcycles are going to be able to easily bypass all of those speed humps, and we won't be able to regulate their speeding. We will be able to regulate cars to a certain extent, and I definitely don't want to make it to where, you know, the engineers have to develop these full-size speed bumps all the way from Rainbow to Durango. I can understand where that would be an issue, but I truly think that we should heavily consider in that most fragile area. I think we can literally save some lives if if we just put full-size speed bumps between, I would like to see from Rainbow to Tenaya, but if we could even just go as small as Rosanna to Tenaya, so we're at least protecting the park and we're protecting that most fragile area. I literally can't count how many times I've picked up dead dogs and cats from that area, and how many times our cans have been hit, and how many times I've seen kids almost get hit. This could be huge, and you guys could really save some people's lives by just, instead of doing the humps between that area right there, if we were just to go with legit long, the annoying speed bumps, I know we can save some lives. And I think it's a really good move. I can't say it enough, I'm so thankful that you guys are paying attention to this, because it really matters a lot. The only thing that I could say is I couldn't help but notice that area isn't even going to begin until 2026. I know we're starting all the way at Durango. Maybe consider doing in front of the park a priority just for the big speed bumps, maybe. And I think we can literally save lives, bumpers, cats, dogs. I've worked in public safety myself for 20 years. I see the issue, and I know we can prevent a lot just by doing that. And that's why I'm here today. I hope my words are not falling on deaf ears. I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about. Consider from Rainbow to Tenaya, because then this traffic can't get going too fast. If you start going too fast from Rainbow, and then you hit a harder speed bump, it's going to be a little bit more of an issue. Maybe consider just doing hard speed bumps right there from just before Rosanna to Tenaya, where that park is at. If I start repeating myself, I'm sorry. I'm just very passionate about this, and I really think we can save someone's life just by putting in the big speed bumps in that one area. And maybe starting that one early might be a good move too. Does anybody have any questions? I know the area very well.
Any commissioners have any questions in regards to a statement?
Vice Chair,
Okay, yes.
City Attorney Tim Guesswine. This is a portion for public comment only. There's no questions or a dialogue between the commission
Yes,
and
the audience.
individuals, unless there's a clarifying question.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Can I clarify anything?
No, I think you made your statement, and we appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Katz.
you for all you do.
Thank you.
Truly appreciated. Thank you all.
Next?
Hello, I'm Terry O'Rourke. Home address is 2000 Palm Canyon Court, and I'm here representing the Buffalo Coalition neighborhood. I'm sure you've heard of us, or you've seen our beautiful mural on the corner of Oakey and Buffalo. Anyway, I'm here to thank you. I think we have just had our neighborhood coffee meeting this morning, and we think it's really sad that money has to be spent to calm traffic or control speed in drivers. However, we get in our big comfortable cars and turn on the radio, and I think we forget, that we're driving lethal weapons. The speed humps that have been installed on O'Bannon between Cimarron and Durango have considerably made a difference in the traffic, the cut-through traffic, and also the speed of the traffic. They're not perfect. I did see a car go over them, probably going 60 miles an hour a couple weeks ago. So if they want to do that, they're going to. But Buffalo Coalition thanks you for the effort. It takes a lot of work to do this, the traffic studies, applying for grants if that's how the money comes. It's a lot of work, so we appreciate it. Thank you. It does make a big difference.
Thank you for your comment.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Feldman. I live at 2290 South Tenaya Way. I want to echo appreciation for you all taking this issue under consideration. I live one house over on South Tenaya from that corner of Olivero, and I walk my dog at Rainbow Family Park every day, so I can speak to kind of that region a lot. And I have 3 examples or scenarios that I can share to illustrate why this is a problem and we need some remediation. So first is on Oliviero, between Tenaya and Rainbow. It's kind of a quiet street, meaning it's mostly behind a bunch of car dealerships. There's only a couple houses on there, so I can see why that might be one that's sort of left out of the plan. And it would be a lovely place to walk dogs, a nice quiet street, but unfortunately, on at least 3 occasions, I actually avoid this street now. Cars will sort of go through the intersection and then pause. This is sort of on the Tenaya side. And then I'm not a car person, I don't know what it's called, but they basically floor it. It seems like they're testing how fast they can get from 0 to 60 or how quickly they can accelerate. And it actually, like if you're walking even on the sidewalk, it like takes your breath away. The cars just are like using it as a racetrack because there's no speed bumps there. I agree that the park area is probably a priority because there's more kids there, but that stretch is, I think, worth looking at as well. My second example, I have a visual aid. You guys are kind of far away. I can send this over email, but this is my next door neighbor, basically between my house and the church. This is a cinder block wall, September 14th, that a car crashed not just into, but through. There was a collision right there next to the church. It's really lucky that this was a Saturday, because if this was a Sunday, where this spot is basically in between, oh, you guys have cameras. This is basically in between the church and then the overflow parking lot across the street from the church, where on a Sunday, all day, this is my first time here, thanks. All day there's people walking, families walking back and forth, basically right where this car has crashed into that cinder block wall. I don't even know how fast you have to be going to actually like demolish a cinder block wall there. So recent evidence that this is an issue right there. And then my third example is just how I can or can't safely walk to the park, especially this time of year when it gets dark at 5 p.m. The stretch, I live 0.2 miles from my mailbox to the corner of Rainbow Family Park. And I can't walk there safely either on a sidewalk or with enough lights without double crossing South Tenaya, which is I think where the worst speeding happens, because that's folks sort of avoiding Rainbow to try and get to Charleston quickly. There's not sidewalks on both sides of the street. There's not lights on both sides of the street. There's not a way to do it safely. If it's after 5 p.m., I get in my car and I drive 0.2 miles so I can safely get my dog to and from the park. My neighbor who lives 3 houses closer between me and the park, he only drives to the park all year. I see his car at the park every day with his dog. So happy to answer questions in the future. I can send these examples to the email so you can have it on record, but really looking forward to seeing some remediation on this issue in the area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark French. I live at 2280 Shaw Circle, which my backyard is against Villa Olivera, and my side yard is Belcastro. I don't want to reiterate what everybody else said, so we can cut that part short. One thing I can say about the park, I walk every morning with my dog beginning at 5 until about 6:30, 7 o'clock. There's speeders going down those streets that early in the morning. My primary question is on the 17th of October, I received a letter stating that via Olivera Avenue from Cimarron to Montessori, as far as speed bumps. On the agenda, it doesn't list that. It lists all the other speed bumps, but that particular stretch of street is not listed. Is that going to make any difference on, or what can be done about that?
Well, when we get into that, we'll talk with the Department of Transportation.
On October 17th, 2024, it lists where the speed bumps are being considered, but it's not on the agenda.
Okay, we'll get into that when we get into the regular form of the
Will there have
meeting.
to be another hearing for that, or whatever this is, or can that be?
What,
Somebody,
inclusive?
okay, I can talk to somebody on that later.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Louis Cononellis, live at 2260 Shaw Circle. I moved into that home in 2013. Like Mark, I will walk the park, not as often as he does, but at least 4 times a week. I know it's extremely dangerous to even get to the park on many occasions and to leave the park. In particular, I'm concerned about not only in particular the traffic on Via Olivera. I suffer from a few old athletic injuries, and when I'm walking out of the park, I will many times walk up Via Olivera. I have seen cars travel in excess of 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. I wonder sometimes if maybe the mechanics in some of those shops test drive their vehicles down that street. I can't verify that, but the amount of speeding traffic is extremely dangerous. And similar to what Mark has said, I would hope that you would also consider those traffic bumps on Via Olivera besides what has already been stated for the other street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Clay Wirtz, and I live at 2212 Paseo Court and have been there for more than 20 years. I am adamantly opposed to these speed bumps, and I'll tell you why. About 6 or 8 days ago, I took my lawn chair out and in order for me to get out of my cul-de-sac, I have to go on to Via Olivera, which is very close to Buffalo, just east of Buffalo. Took my lawn chair out there, and from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I decided I'd count cars. There are no cars. I counted 14 cars during that hour period. I just picked a random day. 14 cars. That does not merit speed bumps. And as I watch cars, half of them were my neighbors, and I'll bet half of them signed my petition, of which I have 26 homeowners who signed saying no to speed bumps. I would also add that the Rainbow Coalition, 99% of us that live there do not belong to that organization, and half of those people don't even know who they are. They do not represent we, the local people who live there and have to drive on Via Olivera. We don't want any more speed bumps. 14 cars during the rush hour from 8 to 9 on a Tuesday morning. I would like to invite all of you, I'll even supply the lawn chairs, come to the street with me and we'll sit out there, you pick a morning or an afternoon, and let's count cars. Speed bumps for 14 cars at rush hour. I think the city must have better needs for their time, money, and energy than spending it on 14 cars during the busy hour. And I saw nobody hot rodding up and down. I don't doubt that on occasion, rare as it may be, there are some. But we locals don't want speed bumps. They're intrusive, and we just simply don't like them, and they're certainly not needed. I was going to present you with my homeowners homeowners that signed my petition. Sadly, it's sitting on my kitchen table, but I could get it to you. So I would encourage you to come and see for yourself. There is no traffic on Via Olivera, and Urbana is even less than Via Olivera. Yes, there is traffic on Tenaya. I'm not sure that it merits speed bumps, but there is definitely considerably more traffic. Via Olivera, O'Bannon, there's no traffic, there's no problem. There's an old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This applies in this situation. Please, no more speed bumps. Thank you.
Thank you for
Have
your
a sunny
comment.
day.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak, make a comment? Seeing that there's none, we will move on to item 4. Item 4, the possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the regular meeting that took place on May 23rd of 2024. Do I have a motion to accept?
This is Commissioner Swadling. I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Lang, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Possible discussion on item 5, action to install speed cushions on Tenaway and between Del Rey Avenue and Via Olivero Avenue. Do we have any additional information in regards to this?
Yeah, Joseph Norby, City Traffic Engineer for City of Las Vegas. Wanted to just kind of run through a couple slides here. What we've done is, to be consistent the way we've done things in the past, we've broken these up by streets. Although it was studied as this entire area, we will take this segment by segment as we present through our findings. So I don't know who's controlling the slides. Do you want me to grab the? All right, so for items 5, 6, and 7, this is generally the area that we are looking at. It is the area generally bound by Durango on the west, Sahara on the south, Rainbow on the east, and just north of Oki on the north side. Several years ago, our city traffic engineering team studied it pretty intensely, this area, based on citizen complaints of speeding, looked at this area as a whole, and now as we are coming back, we are working towards some remediation based on our studies and our finding. So today in front of you, for items 5, 6, and 7, we're going to be discussing Via Olivero from Durango to Rosanna Street, O'Bannon Drive from Durango to Rosanna, and Tenaya Way from Del Rey to Via Olivera. To capture a little bit of this, what we've done, so a traffic study was completed in 2021. In 2023, we installed a handful of speed humps as a test measure. Hard to see on the map or on the display there, but if you can see, there's 3 blue dots on the west end of O'Bannon, west or east of Durango, and then 3 blue dots on Via Olivero, east of Buffalo. Those were done as part of a test bed for this area to view and gauge their effectiveness. Down below in some of our speed data that we have, we collected some before and after data and presented some of our findings in that. And generally speaking, saw a reduction in speeds, anywhere from 10 to 40% reduction. Sorry about that, sorry, not in speeds and volume, sorry. Speed and volume, saw a general reduction with the test installation that we did. We do have a city storm drain project that will be coming in. That is the area highlighted in green. For that project or for those proposed speed humps, that's when those will be installed. It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go install those today and then come back, have to rip them out as part of the storm drain project and then reinstall them again. So that would be, starting, that project's slated to start in Q1 of 2025. And those ones were already approved at a TMP in 2022. The remaining ones, speed humps, we are looking to, proposing to install late 2025, Q4 2025, which is when our funding for this project would become available. So for item 5, we'll start with this one here. This is the area along Tenaya Way, so North-South Street. Above, we have presented the data that we collected. Along Tenaya in various segments, upwards of 2,500 vehicles average per day. That's combined north and south direction. We have an average speed that exceeds more than 5 miles per hour, and then the 85th percentile speed that exceeds close to, upwards of almost 40 miles per hour. With our highest recorded in most segments there are 50 miles per hour. As we look at this and we compare this to our neighborhood transportation management plan criteria, this roadway segment meets all the criteria for our for speed cushions. With an attempt to, studies proving that we can reduce average speeds by 20 to 25%, reduce traffic volumes of upwards of 20%, and then working with CLV, Fire and Rescue, come up with a design of our speed cushion that allows for their vehicles to pass through and be less impacted so that their response times don't go down. Staff recommendation on this is to approve the speed cushions for this segment.
Thank you. Do we have any additional information from anyone?
That is it at this time.
Commissioners?
Joe, I have a question.
Yeah.
If you go back to the first slide, the volume, I think you showed O'Bannon went from 529 down to 319. Are those daily volumes?
That's daily, correct.
Okay.
Yep. So all of those are, so we did a pre and post for the entire day and did that comparison, like travel days, so we pick a midday of the week, do our study, and make sure that when we do our post, we do a midday of the week as well.
It looked like the one on Via actually went up.
So volumes went up on Via Olivera, so we did see a small increase in traffic volumes, but we still saw a decrease in the 85th percentile speed and a decrease in the average speed.
Okay, so those are pretty good averages to go by in the hundreds per day.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners?
This is Commissioner Swadling. Are those temporary cushions still in place?
They are still in place.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Member Stamper, I have a couple questions for you, sir. On this slide here at the bottom right, there's some indication of citizen responses. I can't quite read it, but it didn't look like there's a lot of indifference. Is that old data? What's that from?
So this is the data that we send out when we talk about, when we poll the neighborhoods, we send this out, and the intent of that is, do you support, do you oppose, or are you indifferent? Do you care, you don't care one way or the other? Based on that, in that square, I think it shows the support of 1, opposed 7, and then indifferent of 462. Oftentimes that indifferent is no response as well, included in that.
Yeah. And if I could, and I'm trying to make sure we maybe keep this narrow to the 3 items we're going to vote on, because it doesn't include this entire area as I'm understanding. It's particular segments.
Are you referring to the people that were polled, or, sorry, maybe
No,
I
just back to the
misunderstood.
agenda for today. I mean, we're talking about some just particular segments within this overall plan, but this is what you're showing here is the overall plan.
Correct. And this screen is the overall plan. Item number 5 specifically is the Tenaya Way.
Okay, yeah.
That north-south, so those, I don't think I've got a zoomed-in picture of it. So we're just looking at that north-south Tenaya Way segment for item number 5.
Yep, understand that. And then O'Bannon, just the segment between Buffalo and Rosanna. So that's the eastern half, basically, which gets you over there towards the park. And then via Olivero, Durango to Buffalo, so that's the western side. How did we prioritize getting those segments done? Can we understand that a little bit?
Yeah, so the study area, and in your guys' packet, you should have a complete study write-up for Buffalo Coalition Neighborhood Speed Study. Based off of that speed study, what we did is we pulled out the areas of most concern, the ones that I'm not going to say failed the worst, but were higher of concern for speed volume data that we collected.
Okay, thank you. And this is 2021? Or was it's dated January 23, okay. Could you comment for us, in light of some of the testimony this morning, a refocus or prioritization on the sequence of these installations?
Yeah, so just to be clear, maybe to clarify, The area in green, ooh, I don't know how this is going to work here. If you follow kind of my cursor here, this green outlined area was already approved by the Transportation or Traffic and Parking Commission at a previous date. So those ones are already approved, and those ones are set to be included as part of the storm drain package. So those more shown for reference today, and kind of as part of the greater neighborhood plan. So today, what we're discussing, this is terrible, I'm pretty shaky here, I'm doing my best here. So this segment here of O'Bannon, this segment here of Via Olivero, and then this segment here of Tenaya. Does that help clarify?
Yes, sir, it does. And
Okay.
just one last question. They're not installed yet. The ones in green have not yet been installed.
In that green square, there's 3 blue dots on O'Bannon that were installed as a test bed, and
yeah.
3 blue dots on Via Olivera that were installed as part of our test.
And I apologize if you already mentioned it or if it's in the material here. When is that scheduled?
So this is scheduled to start Q1 of 2025, and it might slide a little bit. We're still sorting out through our city engineer. It's one of their projects for storm drain. Q1 might be wishful thinking, but that storm drain will go in, so they'll be ripping up a vast majority of that roadway to place that storm drain line in. And then as they restore the pavement, that's when the speed humps, the final speed humps will go in. Those test speed humps will come out as part of that project and then be replaced as part of that storm drain project. And again, those ones were already approved at a 2022 Traffic and Parking Commission.
Thank you very much.
This is Commissioner Emanuel. Can you address Mr. Katz's question regarding the speed hump design of being the 2 side-by-side versus the entirety of the road, regards to fire and safety and response times, please?
Yeah. So we have worked over the years with our City of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue to make sure that it often becomes opposing goals, right? We have goals of how can we better improve traffic safety along the roads. They have goals of how quickly they can respond and meet their thresholds for response times. Realizing that those often compete against each other, when we put a speed hump in, then they theoretically would have a reduced response time. So over the years in working with CLV Fire and Rescue, and then also looking at what other jurisdictions do throughout the country to combat against some of the same issues, we have come up with what we call our speed cushion design. And I don't think we have that, I apologize, in our backup. But essentially what it does is it creates 3 cushions rather than a solid hump all the way across the road. What those cushions are slotted such that it very well easily fits a fire and rescue vehicle. However, that wheelbase is typically a little bit larger than your standard passenger car or pickup truck. And so it allows their vehicles to go through without hitting the hump or without hitting the hump as bad. However, your smaller passenger car, you might be able to hit one slot, but you're not going to hit them both. And with that design, and we've tested it, we have several of these installed throughout the city already. We've had great feedback from Fire and Rescue for their response, and we've also seen great response as far as reducing our travel speeds and volumes as well as part of that. We can look at the specific area adjacent to the park as a potential one-off. We have not discussed that with fire prior to this meeting. That would have to be discussed further, as well as looking at their specific routing to and from fire stations to see if that would be an impact. But right now, I can't commit to those 2 or 3 humps being full speed humps without giving them plenty of time to go back and look at their data and how that would impact them.
Anything further? I just want to thank the residents of the community for coming out today. We don't usually get a lot of participation, so this is wonderful. I've lived in Ward 1 for 20 years. on Buffalo and Oki, and it has gotten increasingly more scary as time goes on. And I also drive to the park. I drive to All-American Park, I drive to Rainbow. My son plays Little League at the Rainbow Park, so I'm very familiar with the issues in our neighborhood and appreciate everyone coming out today. Thank you.
You said that you'd be open to look at the situation around the park areas?
That would need some additional discussions between us and CLV Fire. So can I commit to that as part of this meeting? No. But that is something we can commit to, going back and looking at that and how it would impact.
I mean, it seems like it's a concern of residents in that area.
Yep.
And I think it deserves to go back and take a look at it and see what can be worked out.
Yep.
Regarding to what their concerns are. So you can do that, correct? You'll
Yes.
go back and,
That we can go back and look at the data and look at how that would impact. From a traffic impact, I don't think it's going to change the speed of the vehicles. I know it will affect the speed and the reaction of our fire and rescue.
okay. When you sent out these notices to get input from the residents, you didn't do it by sections, correct? You just did the entire area, 5, 6, and 7?
We did all area all at once.
All at
It was
once?
one blast for everybody. It makes it a little bit more convenient for us on our end, for city clerks to give a notice rather than to do 3 separate notices. It becomes one large standardized mailer. That's typically how we've done it.
So they were able to respond on certain areas, but not all areas, if they chose to? Because a lot of times, if it only impacts where they're at, they're only going to be interested in what you're presenting, as far as speed cushions and so forth. So was it set up in a way that they can respond to only their particular area?
It was not. It was set up as here's the area that we're looking at speed humps, comment as a whole.
And you're showing that that response was very low.
So our response in favor was low from the respondents through our survey mailer.
All right, thank you. Any further comments from any of the commissioners?
This is Commissioner Swadling. I need some clarification as to the timing between the storm drains and the possibility, if we vote in a positive way, to the cushions, proposed cushions to be put in.
With respect to the storm drain project, if the storm drain project were to start, let's throw out a date here, April of next year, you're likely not looking at full restoration in that area until 2026, probably mid to late 2026. That would correspond fairly well with the remaining ones that are outside of the storm drain, because our funding for that project likely not available until late 2025, and it's part of a larger project that we're doing some other treatments throughout the city. So between the 2 projects, we're not looking at a large disparity of when the humps will actually go in.
I just have to clarify that for myself. So the cushions would be put in after the drain project?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Otherwise, if it was the other way around, then we would have to rip up the cushions that you put in, correct?
Correct.
And redo it again?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Any further comments?
Just a question.
Sure.
If we would like to have the Public Works folks reconsider some things, are we going to table it here or vote no here? What do we have to do?
That'd be up to the commissioners. You can make a motion to either, what we would do is we would take item 5, we would take each one of these separately, and you can either make a motion to table or you can make a motion to accept.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Does the Transportation Engineering Division, do you have any more comments you want to make before the board? I mean, considering what was stated here at the meeting, because normally, like Ms. Manuel says, we normally don't have a lot of people come here to these meetings, and today it seems like they're interested in what's going on in that particular area, even though you may have received a small response on your send-out mailings, but they did have a lot of concerns that they raised. I mean, it seems like all of them were kind of in favor of the speed bumps or speed cushions all the way or not, and then, of course, there was one that was not in favor of any of them at all.
So just to finalize kind of our comments, before you guys vote, I appreciate the opportunity here. And I think part of our intent here of separating each street out was that way we could have a vote per roadway. If something does need to happen, we need to go back, then we go back per segment as needed. So item 5, that talks about Tenaya Way. Specifically, I do not have data on respondents specifically for Tenaya Way. Everything is for the area as a whole. This particular segment looks to install 5 speed humps or speed cushions in this area, essentially one per block, I guess we want to call them blocks in there, of which I don't recall hearing any of the citizen participation complaining about or bringing up Tenaya Way as part of their discussion, maybe in particular opposed to Tenaya Way. With that, I feel comfortable making a recommendation to recommend speed humps for Tenaya Way for that segment between Del Rey and Villa Olivero.
So we would be speaking just on item 5.
Correct. So just item 5, which is just this north-south Tenaya Way segment.
I have one additional question. This is Commissioner Emanuel. What additional signage, if any, is going to be included in this project? Is there any additional signage on the roads that's going to be communicating to the drivers that there's speed humps, or?
So at each speed cushion will be a speed hump sign ahead of each one, and then we do pavement markings as well on the road around each speed hump and a legend that says hump.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything further? Yes.
I'm fine, thanks.
Any more comments or questions from anyone? Okay, in regards to item 5, install speed cushions on Tenaya Way between Del Rey and Oliverio Avenue. Is there a motion?
Commissioner Lang, I would make a motion to approve the installation of the speed cushions on Tenaya Way between Del Rey Avenue and Villa Olivero Avenue, Ward 1.
Okay, is there a second?
Commissioner Swadling, I second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
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 Oppose?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to item 6. Possible action to install speed cushions on O'Banion Drive between Buffalo Drive and Rosanna Street.
Member Stamper,
Yes.
I move to table item 6 for reconsideration on the design of humps, particularly in the park area.
Is there a second to that?
This is Commissioner Swadling. I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item number 6. Any discussion? All those in favor of tabling item 6, please signify by stating aye.
Aye. Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
And if I may, just for clarification, because this is Joe Norby, City Traffic Engineer, because this meeting doesn't always meet every month, we will bring this back. We will have those discussions offline, bring this back at our next scheduled Traffic and Parking Commission meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motion is carried to table this item. Let's move on to item 7. Possible action to install speed cushions on Olivero Avenue between Durango Drive and Buffalo Drive.
Member Stamper,
Yes.
I move to table item 7 for reconsideration of the need for cushions.
Member Lang, second.
We have a motion, first and second. Any further discussion on the item to table, item number 7? All those in favor of tabling item 7 signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to item number 8. Possible action to approve the conversion of 9th Street between Bridger Avenue and Lewis Avenue, and Lewis Avenue between 9th Street and 10th Street to a one-way street going west and north. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah,
Discussion on that,
Joseph
please?
Norby, City of Las Vegas, City Traffic Engineer. So what we have going on for this, for the reason for bringing this to your guys' attention before you today, the city is in the process of expanding our Strong Start Academy that currently sits at the corner, southwest corner of Bridger and 9th Street. With that expansion, we anticipate opening up new grades. Currently, it's a K through 2 with it, plans over the next several years to expand that to a K through 5. What that will do is increase enrollment, therefore increasing traffic, drop-off pickup traffic to and from the school. So before you, in front of on the screen, is how it sits today. We've gone out there, we've studied it, we've looked at the queues associated with the school drop-off and pickup. We've worked with the school. Because it's a city managed, overseen Strong Start, we've worked with our internal city departments as well to look at how we can safely run and operate our parent pickup and drop-off. This is a school that also does before and after care through our Safe Key program. And so oftentimes, the before school tends to be a little bit more staggered, depending on drop-off. However, after school tends to be a little bit more concentrated, but can also stagger off until Safe Key concludes at 6 p.m. So on the screen in front of you kind of shows our projected enrollments over the next couple school years, going from where we're at today, about 241 students, projected out to be 360 students by the 27-28 school year. In purple on the diagram there is the expansion building that is shortly going to be reconstructed on the property. So we've looked at this several different ways. How do we cut? How do we make sure that we have adequate storage for the parent pickup and drop-off? How do we make sure that we are cognizant of the neighbors that live in there as well and their access to their homes, as well as safety for the children that attend the school? And what we have come up with is a proposed one-way street on Lewis between 10th and 9th that would be one-way westbound, converting what is today a two-way street. And then on 9th, between Lewis and Bridger would be a one-way northbound. And what this allows us to do is allow for a little bit more queuing of vehicles for parent pickup and drop-off without impacting or less impacting the side streets of Bridger, 10th, and some of the surrounding areas, and really trying to curb little children, these school-age children, elementary-age children from, or their parents from wanting to pick up a block away and sending their kids a couple blocks away for a pickup. And so what we've done is what we've proposed is a 3-lane one-way segment in which 2 of the lanes would be for parent pickup and drop-off, and 1 would be for through traffic. And that is depicted on the screen in front of you there. I guess maybe to add as well, the current on-street parking goes unchanged in this area.
Did we also do a survey in this area?
I don't recall if we did for this. It's a little bit different than our standard speed hump petition. We do not have a petition for one-way traffic conversions. However, the neighborhood was noticed of this meeting as part of our protocols for open meeting laws.
What brought this to your attention to begin with?
The initial was our Strong Start oversight through our YDSI department. They brought it up through our city engineer who was doing the design of the building and the renovations on the site for additional classrooms. So our staff went out, we observed traffic on various occasions before and after school to see how they currently manage their parent pickup and drop off. Under current conditions, it's fine. Under projected conditions of additional, almost doubling the current enrollment, we anticipate that to be a little bit, obviously more traffic. And so we've kind of studied it around in conjunction with our other city departments.
So this kind of came about when they were talking about the construction of an additional building.
Correct. And so we are doing this now. The additional building, and maybe I'm going to look at Rosa. She might be able to to better help. I think it's for next school year is when they're hoping to have it open, or is it the following school year?
Correct. Rosa Cortez, city engineer. Yeah, the project is under construction currently, and we're trying to have it ready and open for the 2025-2026 school year.
Although the building will be open for that, it will not be at full capacity until the 27-28 school year.
Correct.
So there will be adding a grade. So current third graders will be fourth graders. That will add that grade. Then current fourth graders will be current fifth graders. That will add that grade. So it's not, they won't be opening all grades day one for next school year.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have any questions at all?
Commissioner Swadling, when school is not in or during the summer, what happens to these lanes?
They continue to be service lanes. We are looking at, and some of this we may not know until we actually get some traffic out there and get it going. Some of the proposed options would be to sign and delineate it separately. Essentially, the drop-off lanes to the left and through lanes to the right. And whether we do that with a hard median or some kind of delineator reflector posts along that is to be determined based on the need of the area.
Again, Commissioner Swadling, that's not part of this vote that we're going to take, the added.
It wouldn't be. Right now, it's only the conversion of a two-way street to a one-way street. And then those would be based on observations as we move forward, the need for additional treatments. Those are fairly low-level maintenance items for our team that we could go out and implement within a day as needed, if needed.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Other than the school traffic, how much other traffic is there?
So it's probably hard to tell in some of these figures here. What we looked at, and I apologize, let me get my, should have brought my other notes here of traffic. But we're looking at entering and exiting currently from Bridger. We're talking 100 vehicles during the AM peak and 30 vehicles during the PM peak. So the morning rush hour and the evening rush hour. And then on 9th Street, we're looking at 31 morning peak and 56 vehicles evening peak. So we're considerably low volume roadways. Given the number of housing units in there, we anticipate the volumes to remain low. One added thing to note, the city recently vacated 9th Street south of Lewis, between Lewis and Clark, and that was vacated back to Clark County School District for their LBA high school there. So 9th Street, it's not a through street. You have to make the Lewis to 9th connection to be on that roadway.
Was there any percentage done as far as school traffic versus residential traffic?
Not directly. Indirectly, we look at it based on school population by number of students. The anticipated, it's less than 1-to-1, one vehicle to one student / faculty, but it's close to a 1-to-1. So we anticipate of that, you would have upwards of 300 vehicles, AM and PM drop-off pickup for the school, associated only with the school.
Now, if this motion passes, when will this take place?
So right now, and the reason we're bringing this to you guys now is we realize that things take time to get in motion. We would anticipate doing this over the summer ahead of the school to correspond with the opening of the new building that is under construction. This will allow us to get funding kind of in order, get ducks in a row, because summer becomes a shortened window with everything else going on to make sure that we have adequate time to get this in place ahead of the school year.
Thank you. Commissioners have any other questions at all? Okay. Is there a motion?
Member Stamper, I move to approve item
Would be number 8.
8. Sorry. Approve item 8.
We have a motion to accept item 8. Is there a second?
Commissioner Lang, second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of item 8, please signify by stating aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to item number 9, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of this commission. No subject may be acted upon by the commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion of any single subject, as well as the amount of time of any single speaker is allowed, and may be limited. Is there anybody that'd like to come up at this time? Thank you.
Hi there, Terry O'Rourke again, 2000 Palm Canyon Court. I have a question on the map that the traffic engineer was showing us. Buffalo has just been re-asphalted and re-stamped, and the map that he showed, the storm drain on Buffalo, we thought it was on Cimarron. And that's why they were waiting to redo the traffic circles on Cimarron until after the storm drain project was completed. Is the map correct? Are they going to tear up Buffalo after they just fixed it?
During the public comment phase, it's just commentary. There's no question and answer portion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We can talk after.
Well, we can
Okay.
make a note of it at least and look into that.
You know, for the general public, we don't, unless you know the Robert's rules, we don't understand how.
No,
this-
we understand that.
So, thank
No,
you
we
for-
just appreciate you coming forward with your comments.
Thank
I
you.
mean, at least it's something that we're hearing, just like we mentioned before by a lot of the commissioners here. We normally don't get an audience to come at these meetings. And because you were here and you expressed your opinions on certain issues, that made the commission take some different stands, I believe, on some of the items that were tabled. So it does make a difference, so we appreciate it.
If you send me a text, I'll come to all your meetings.
Okay, thank you.
And it'll get captured in the minutes, too.
Hello again, Mark
Hi.
French. 2 questions. Will we be notified again on the next one of these meetings for like what was it, number 7 that was postponed?
7 and 8
No,
were
excuse me, number
tabled.
6.
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Number 6, the one on the speed bumps going down Via Olivera. It wasn't mentioned between Buffalo and Roseanne. And on the letter in October the 14th, or 17th, excuse me, it was mentioned on that one. And that's the one that I'm more concerned with. It's right behind the car dealerships and the mechanics. They're test driving the cars up and down there often after they're repaired, all the new car dealerships along there. And I just want to know if we're going to be notified if there's another one of these meetings so I can attend.
Yeah, all these meetings have to be posted and noticed according to the law. So they will
Will
be,
there be a mailer is my question.
no, they would be posted.
Okay.
But again, your comments are being heard here by the departments that dealing with this particular situation, so we can
No.
look into that.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Katz?
Yes, sir. Apologies, me again. Again, I just want to say thank you all so much for hearing us. As you can see, there's definitely concern in that area. It's in the east area. I couldn't help but notice it seems as though the more fragile area that we're talking about, the park, it doesn't seem as though there's going to be construction of the drainage area there. So maybe you might want to knock that out, just putting it out there. I know you want to investigate. I truly appreciate that, the full speed bump, so we can control motorcycle and vehicular traffic specifically at that park in that area. I truly appreciate that so much. I just can't thank you enough for all of this. We're really looking forward to being able to slow down the speed humps. I know the guy in the nice suit said he didn't want them. I'm pretty sure the rest of our neighbors are very interested in this, and thank you for doing this, and thank you for your hard work also, sir, the engineer. I appreciate you listening to our comments. The firefighter, thank you, sir. I hope even as a former officer myself, I understand you have to respond rapidly. At that park, though, whether you're in a police car or a fire truck, you still need to slow down near that park, and that's why I think it's so important that whether it's your children or anyone else's, we got to look at that. That park, really, we should prioritize that as fast as humanly possible. That is our most fragile area. That's why most of the people are here are talking about it, because they witness it and they see it. And thank you for listening to us. It's obvious that you guys are listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Appreciate you.
comment. Next.
Hi, Sarah again. I just wanted to make a comment in response to the discussion about the data of the responses from the mailers, the limited number of responses, and there was dialogue about the indifferent response, and does that mean someone actually responded saying they're indifferent, or was that a non-response? I think it would be important to have those captured as separate data points. I can just say as a resident, my mailbox is stuffed every day with junk mail and lots of things that, like, solicitation letters that try to make it seem like they're official business, but really they're just trying to get your money for a loan, and you have a lot of hesitation to respond to things if you're not 100% sure that you should be giving your information back. And so if a high majority of those are really non-responsive, I think that's quite a different revelation than if it's people responding that they're indifferent. And so I don't know if there's a way in the future to see those differently. But as a resident, I hesitate to, send things back in the mail that I'm not familiar with that way.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing that there's no other comments from the audience, at this time, I will adjourn this meeting. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today and express your feelings and make your comments and so forth. Thank you very much.
They keep the binders. I know.
Oh, I don't want them. They don't want all my chicken scratch.
I know, I just take mine.